quick. I have something on my heart, meaning my mind. Um, Most of the time, when I say heart, means mind. I've been thinking about, reading about, studying, and just kind of letting it kind of, what's the word can I say? Just kind of letting it simmer. I would be, I think that would be the best description of that. So you see my title, right? And I just want to step in here. I normally don't do, lives unless I'm in my office, or kind of outside or something like that. But I felt like I need to hop on here. So um, I grew up hearing that saying, right? Sticks and stones break my bones, words will never hurt me, that type of thing. It may not be verbatim, but it's close to it. And as we're finding out, the curtain is being pulled back, and we're seeing the Wizard of Oz, so to speak. And we're finding out that there's a lot of wizards and witches, right? We're finding out the source behind a lot of this stuff. And if you dig a little bit deep enough, and if you are honest with yourself, it looks like this stuff has been going on for a long, long, long time. Just, over 70 years, but it even goes back thousands of years, right? Because it's generational curses are produced by words. So that lie that we were told, if you look up etymology, I think it's Etymology. So it basically is just talking about how to decipher words. So there's a reason why we weren't taught in public or private school, especially public, let alone private. We weren't taught how to decipher words. As a matter of fact, to go even deeper, we weren't even taught about law, land, air, water, and the significance of that. You see, words are ideas, right? And most of this world is ruled by dead men's ideas, which would be the Greeks and their leadership philosophy, as you guys heard me say many times before, um, says that if you do not look like me, essentially, then you're my slave, right? If you don't have sharp nose, blonde hair, blue eyes, thin lips, um, and blonde hair, then obviously you're my slave. And it wasn't, if you really think about that, it wasn't a statement about racism. It was a statement about economics. And the word economics, when you study it, is based on lack mentality. You say, why do you say that, Tariq? Because we were taught a contamination of words that program us, right? Physics, physics and programming have to do with words because words carry frequency, right? And they go directly to a little apparatus in your at the top of your nervous system, below the base of your neck, right? And most of what I just said, many of you don't even know that. So, for instance, I mentioned the magic of thinking big. That's one of my favorite books, all the time greats. It's got to be about a 70-year-old book, but they're still selling thousands of copies, probably per day or per year. Okay. And that's something that guy wrote way back in the 1950s, and his grandkids and even great grandkids are still receiving residuals off of that. Okay. I said all that to say this. So your words, so all the programming, right, that has to do with physics, us programming ourselves for destruction, right? Our whole language has been contaminated, distorted. If you've been to a circus, okay, you've been to a circus, and you remember that mirror where you stand in front of, so you got, when you look in the mirror, you see the body that you're in, right? And then remember when you go in front of distorted mirror or maybe a cracked mirror, you see everything is distorted, right? And obviously that's how you see, however you see the world is how you see yourself. Okay. And so our whole language, etymology, you can look it up, has been, as I said before, contaminated. So that's why researchers say that like 90+% of the people in the world have a very low self-image. Isn't that amazing? Well, that's not by accident, right? We've been programmed like that, right? Maybe you grew up and you were saying, because other people were saying that you're lazy or you're stupid or you can't do math. I challenge each and every one of you, if you're serious about positively changing, look up each word that comes out of your mouth. Look up the Hebrew, look up the Greek. Heck, you're online all the time, right? Why not be productive and do something with that? Okay. So I still am catching myself, even being programmed and being mentored by very successful people, millionaires, multimillionaires for several years. I learned a whole lot of stuff. And I'm still catching myself. You know why? It's because it's on the TV. It's all throughout media, different levels of media, different tools of media, right? We're being programmed like this, like spelling. Well, what do you think spelling means? To put a spell on somebody. Cursive. They taught us cursive when we were little, to put a curse on that. You see what I'm saying? Um, the word, what was that other word? Pharmakia, like pharmaceutical, pharmakia. Did you know that means witchcraft? Did you know witchcraft is another word for manipulation? Right. Some people say, well, I'm not a witch. I'm not a black witch. I'm not a white witch. No, color. Forget all that crap. Which means to manipulate somebody. Right. So little kids do that. Right. Husband and wives do that I'm just borrowing those words. Right. Um, neighbors do that. Gossipers do that. We manipulate ourselves and we manipulate other people. Why? Because of our self image, self cancellation, self hatred, which we were a lot of, especially people with my color skin, right? Or even darker, right? We've been taught that, you know, and, I would say slavery, but, to some degree, we're still enslaved. I'm not going to get into that, but if you start delving into, property taxes and you start delving into, taxes in general and why does the money, why were we born with $50,000 of debt? Why is it just a federal note and it's actually not money? It's a note. It says that on the back of there. Where did all that come from? And it's a shame that people just kind of go along. But I can guarantee you, if you look back 10 years ago, let alone 5, and as much as 20, 30 years ago, whether, if you weren't born then, obviously, but if you are old enough to even look back in your mind, you got less freedoms than you have today. And it happened incrementally. Okay. A frog, you throw a frog in the boiling hot water, they're going to jump out immediately. But if you put a frog in there and it's cool and you just keep turning the degree up 1 degree, maybe every 3 to 5 minutes. And before you know it, the frog's going to die, right? So we're being cooked. Okay. Now, I said this yesterday and I said this the week before that all the attacks, as far as food, water, and the vaccines, all that type of stuff, is an attack on the brain, right? And your brain is housed by your mind, which is part of your soul: mind, will, emotions, intellect. Okay. That's the second part of the triune being. Okay. So what I'm empowering you to do, and what I was taught um, by the master, the creator, the Lord, he was teaching me how to undo a lot of the bad programming, which is all based on physics. Remember, I said that this channel, I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm giving you strictly laws, because laws will bind you, or laws can, if you, that's in reverse. But if you find the right law for whatever area in life you want to accelerate in, you'll find it'll give you liberty. And this goes not just in America, right? This goes for other countries also too. Most of the citizens are bound. Okay. And that's why capitalism is terrible, because you can be a small little mob of people, and you can be in positions of authority. It doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. I can assure you, most of the people that are watching me right now, that watch me in the future, who are doing the right things and are honest with themselves, you're smarter, you're more intelligent than most of those people in government around the world. I assure you of it. You know, I can tell. I can tell. I know what's going on. I don't divulge a lot of stuff that I know, but I'm just trying to give you hints. Stop underestimating yourself. So, I actually didn't mean to be on this long, but I wanted you to understand that words have frequencies. Okay, and the words that I'm painting in your mind, for instance, just something as simple as, let's say it's a rainy day, okay? And let's say it's chilly outside, okay? What do you hear a lot of people do? If you just listen to what people say, and just stop talking for a while and listen to what people say, it'll floor you. They're literally programming themselves for destruction, for things to happen, and our words are magnetic, right? I'm imploring you to go ahead and do just a small little study, and it'll just floor you, right? And we blame other people. Man, this happened, that happened. Now, listen, I'm not making light of that. I think researchers say that by the time we're 7 or 8, our personality is actually constructed, right? And it depends on our environment, who raised us. And so it actually is not indicative of who we truly are. Okay. So, um, we are what we think we are. So I'm literally showing you how to change it. Literally. I don't care what country you're in. Okay. Um, and so hopefully you take this thing seriously, because I can assure you time is ticking, and nothing's guaranteed, right? Or very few things are guaranteed in life. Most people don't even know what those are. Um, a lot of people are playing games, right now, playing games with life. And sooner or later, their clock runs out. If you look at any sport, they have a clock, right? And when the game is over, it's over. It's in the record books, and that's like life, right? So it's up to you. You get to choose. But one thing I learned about being in this, even if you live to be 120 years old, 130 years young, it goes by really fast, like that, right? Really fast. And before you know it, it's done and over with, right? So hopefully that makes some sense. I know it does. You may want to look out. I recommend you listen to this several times. Researchers say if you listen to something, right, take some notes down. Obviously, some of you are doing it, some of you aren't. Some of you are doing it righteously, unrighteously, doing it for good, bad, doesn't matter. Okay. Um, I know how to control this right here. Okay. And I know how to cap the negative, right? I can unplug. If I get angry enough, I can unplug from a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? Because this is the most important land between your ears, that 6 inches, right? What else do you own outside of that? Okay. So words are ideas, and ideas, actually, that democratic republic I was telling you about with the Greeks, they pretty much run. And even though Plato, Socrates, and Aristotle, and don't get me wrong, I love Greek people. I got Greek friends and everything like that. I got bloodline lineage, not just in Alkebulan, which some people call Africa, but obviously which extends to the Middle East. And I got bloodline in all throughout Europe, and also got a bloodline over there in Eastern um, Asia, also too, Northern Asia also too. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Success principles are all law based, and they actually work for any and everybody, right? Even people that want to do evil things, what they do is they take that and then they reverse it, right? It's no different than if you're going down, if you're traveling down the road and it's a one-way street and all of a sudden you stop and then put it in reverse. Well, you got people coming behind you 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. You're in trouble and they're in trouble, right? So that's what's really going on. So again, words are frequencies, okay? And if you want to change, if it's a big if, you want to change your programming, it's up to you, right? You can't count on anybody else to do it. You got to desire to do it based upon desiring to change your life. But, if you like where you're at in every area of your life, then don't do it. Don't change anything. But I know there's some people out there that don't want to play games, with the life that they have. They know that there's people that are looking up to them. They're connected to them. There's an innate desire. If you haven't covered that up, or if the world hasn't beat you down mentally, there's an innate desire for all of us to want to to be recognized, to feel important, to be admired, to be appreciated, right? And to use that influence that we have from our gifts that's been given to us by the Creator, and to serve our fellow man. And because you're doing that, you're adding value. And guess what? You don't even have to worry about money. Money will run you down, right? And remember, again, money does not exist, right? It's an idea. It was a word, right? Somebody had to come up with that money magic system, right? Somebody had to come up with that, that fictitious fiat system that we're a part of. Somebody had to come up, a group of people had to come up with that, right? So that proves that right there. So money is add value, and money's attracted to how you think. Okay. So anyway, I'm done. I just wanted to hop on here real quick. Words do matter. Look up some words. Please, guys, stop playing games with your future, man. Because I assure you, I can't get on here and tell you a lot of stuff that I know, like I said before. But there's some things that are coming that's going to disrupt a lot of things, with all the social media platforms. There's some things that are coming that you and I have even faced before, that even past history hasn't even happened, and well, has happened, but to the degree that it's coming, no mankind hasn't even ever experienced it, So I have some really good sources that's coming in the financial area, which obviously finances, if you want to get people's attention and you want people to stop playing around, right, with life and everything like that, mess with money. And I guarantee you'll wake a lot of people up, out of that slumber, that spiritual mental slumber, right? You start cutting off food and water, and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. It wakes people up, right? Quickly, And I think overall that's what we need. We need to be woken up, because why? We're on the clock and we got some things to accomplish, not to be selfishly, not just for us and our four and no more. It's for to serve, to use our gift and work on our gift and get those things out there, right? And serve our fellow man. But it depends on this right here, right in here, right? So I'm done. You guys have a great, great week. Please be productive for your sake. I'm gonna make sure that I am. There's always things that I can work on myself. I can get better at, because if you were to poll three, let's say five people who are above 75 years old, I guarantee if you were to ask them what's one of their regrets, I promise you at least 80 to 90% of them are going to say, so much wasted time. So much wasted time, right? And it's sad that there's people even out there that get to a certain point where they're just dumbed down so much they just don't care anymore about themselves, which means they don't care about anybody else, because you can't give what you haven't got. You only give what you have got, right? And they just lost hope, right? And they just don't care, and they just whatever, So, but I'm here to, hopefully I infused some spiritual vitamins into you, mental vitamins into you, that you are one of a kind. You do have value, intrinsic value. Um, and there's nobody like you, whether you're a triplet, quintuplet, whether you're a twin, it doesn't matter. That DNA is specifically genetically coded for you, right? And even though that's not you, the physical man, the spiritual person is the true you. And I'm looking forward to hearing about some of your successes and how I can help out you to achieve, um, your goals and to help out other people in the future. So whatever that goal is, whatever that I don't want to say goal, but objective, but whatever that gift is, whether it's music, writing, um, whether it is writing a book, whatever it is, sports, wherever your gift is, medicine, um, you name it. There's a myriad of other subjects out there. I'm looking forward to you being a rock star or a rap star or whatever star you want to think about in that area of gifting so you can lead people and help impact. That's how you impact people and leave a legacy. Okay. And that's how people write books about you. Most people most people when they die, that's gonna be it. Oh, they were a great cousin, they were this, they were that. It's very, very, very short. You see what I'm saying? Um, but when you use that leadership gift, when you develop and master a gift or gifts that you have one at a time, and you figure out ways you unplug from the system, not completely, but enough to where you can start thinking on your own, right? And getting just working on this thing, getting it reprogrammed to success, then guess what? When you do that, um, you'll have and you pass, right? You give up, what's the word for it? Yeah, it's physical death, but you leave your body, right? You shed, you shed your skin, right? And you go to your spiritual home, you know, you can have people that come to your homegoing service and people are lining up because of how many people you served, right? There's people, I believe that there's people that are watching me that they'll write books about you, right? They'll write articles, truthful articles about you and how you impacted your life. Man, that's legacy that you can leave for your kids and your kids' kids. Not just be, oh, that was a good cousin, uncle, aunt, mom, dad, and that was it. A few good things. Hey, I miss them every once in a while when their birthday comes up, and there's just this faint smoke that just was here for 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, 120 years, whatever, and they're gone forever, right? You see what I'm saying? At least physically is what I'm talking about. So, impact. It's already inside you. You don't have to look for your future ahead of you. It's actually trapped on the inside of you. Man, I can say that a million times and I still don't think that's going to be enough. Yes, go through the physical things of getting educated, do the things that you need to do. And most of your education and you finding out who you truly are, guess what? What I found out, it's going to be after. If you got a job, it's going to be after 5 o'clock. You're going to find out who you truly are, right? It's going to be outside of work. If you run a business, it's going to be outside of that. Why? Because you're going to be able to, and you unplug from the system, you're going to be able to think more. You're going to be able to develop more. You're going to be able to find more and more about yourself. You see what I'm saying? So don't live in regret, guys. Okay. So you guys have a great week. And remember, words do matter, words do hurt, and you got to build your words on a great foundation of laws. Okay. The laws of the creator. All right. And I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. Oh, also, I believe I posted my Instagram, my IG user link there. Please click on the link. I wanted to go on IG, but it looks like they on purpose upgraded it's probably my account to 1,000 followers. So I really would appreciate that. And if you're new to this podcast, please subscribe here. Please like, and then please go to IG and follow me there. I really appreciate that. So I can get this message out to the masses, to the whole world. and empower them, because our nations are in trouble, and this planet is really, it's like a volcano ready to erupt, right? So I'm not panicking or anything like that. That's one of the things I know. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know why I'm here. I know where I'm going. I know what I can do. I'm just trying to bring a lot of people with me, right? I'm trying to expand and share the things that I've learned over these last 25 years that went by really fast, right? These laws that I learned, unseen laws and natural laws, to relay that to other people, okay? And that's the thing also too. When things hit you in life, most people panic. Most people are afraid because they store fear. That's another thing that we've been programmed, is fear, 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 fear. So when things happen in life, most people, they choke, they gasp, right? They're stunned, right? But guess what? When you unplug from the system, when you read quite a bit, right, the right books, okay, especially the book, right, and you unplug from a lot of this media that's programming you for failure, right? Not failing. Failing is okay as long as you fail forward. You try to learn something, but being a failure, that's what we're programmed to do. And obviously when things happen in life, many people, if not most, fall apart. You see what I'm saying? But usually when things happen to me, very rarely anything can catch me off guard. And I'm still increasing, right, in that area to get better at that, right? But it takes time. It can't happen overnight. So you guys have a great night, man. I wish you guys the best. And again, shout out to all my people out there, North America, South America, all my peoples in Alkebulan, which would be Africa, all my peeps out there in the Middle East, Europe, over there in Asia. I'll let y'all next week.